Live, ladies and gentlemen, it was a wild ride last night. For those of you that joined us on our live stream, fucking pandemic, you would have noticed that Trump came out flying with flames of crazy nonsense. Now, if we had seen any one of the statements that Donald Trump made last night in just a single address, it would have blown the market's minds. Now, there were like 3 or 4 key things. He banned travel from Europe to the United States. He said, we will pay people that get stuck at home. We're going to cover the cost of all the COVID bills, and you don't have to necessarily pay your taxes on time. All of that was crazy shit. And the markets didn't react right away. Bitcoin actually stayed fairly stable around $7,600 for like a few hours. And I think that might have been the delay in China's time. So what we're going to go over today is the huge Bitcoin drop, trading these things in pandemic fundamentals, understanding the difference between technical analysis and fundamental analysis, because we are now in uncharted territory where what we need to pay attention to is not the technicals as much for trading on the long term, but only for hedging our bets on the downside. I do not believe this pandemic is going to go away anytime soon. So I think the big step here is keeping an eye on the fundamentals of this outbreak. Fundamentals being not normally what I bet on news, right? But when Donald Trump comes out and says something that we haven't seen in hundreds of years, these become the new fundamentals of trading. This becomes the sentiment that we want to pay attention to. And I think a lot of I think a lot of people are still befuddled and bewildered, and I myself am in that category. It's this is crazy. We haven't seen something like this before. So trying to protect your portfolio and even prosper during these events is going to become of extreme importance. I think it's very likely Donald Trump already has the coronavirus. In the video that we were watching last night, you could see him go up and choke down and coughs where he should have been coughing, and he didn't. It actually sounds like he spent all day with a vocal coach learning how to choke down coughs. And this is such a weird thing to see. For a few reasons, but look, I'm going to take you over my general sentiments on trading Bitcoin during these times and hedging your portfolio for pandemics. So here we go. We've got Bitcoin open now on the 15-minute. Now, normally, again, I don't like watching on these smaller time frames, but as things move this quickly, it becomes imperative to pay attention to the short-term time frames. So I'm actually going to go down to the 5-minute and make a clearer adjustment. So we went short last night with a leveraged margin trade on Bitcoin, and we exited around 7,800 right here. Not like right exactly here, but it was actually a little earlier in the day. And then I doubled down on that when at around 7,600 when Donald Trump said that they were banning travel from Europe. These statements just are going to have profound effects in the market. And normally we wouldn't trade news and the market so closely. I normally actually separate those two, but in moments like this, you have to trade the fundamentals, not the technicals. The only time I'm going to be trading the technicals is for exiting shorts and looking for re-entry positions into like a portfolio saving value, right? So here we saw this descending wedge this morning come in. Closed our short around 5,900. We were on a phone call with a friend. Yeah, we saw this not the most well-defined descending wedge, but in these short time frames, it was bold enough to see that we were going to break out of this pattern. And as soon as we did, close the short. Now the idea here is, well, when I'm going to enter another short to hedge my positions. So a big part of the question here is, how do I just at least not lose money during these situations, and on the very plus and brightest of sides, make money during these situations? Now, there's probably a lot of people who have jumped into the traditional markets, and I had a good call with a friend this morning about that. You know, the VIX right now, 73% gain in 23 days. And that's even with the downside of holding one of these kind of, I'm going to call it like an option. It's your option to exercise the volatility against owning the S&P 500, right? So you would have bought this if you had stocks in the S&P 500 and used this again to hedge your bets against the drop in the S&P 500. And this is exactly what we've been doing with Bitcoin and margin trading, is using a portion of our portfolio as a type of insurance against the rest of our portfolio. That way, when these big drops come in, you're not left just losing. You actually end up on the plus side. And this is a hugely important sentiment to take care of. I think on the long term, people are going to need to find ways to work from home. They're going to need to self-quarantine maybe for the next few months. We don't know what other kind of crazy shit things Donald Trump is going to say. The motherfucker says so much crazy stuff, right? So keeping a close eye on these is important. Now, it looks like, again, I think, and this is only conjecture here at this point, again, I think trading from a fundamental level is probably more valid, but on the 45 minute, we can see that the 21 simple moving even further. I suspect we'll probably bounce to the 45 minute at 69.69 right here, around that area, and maybe even higher, especially if you look out at the 4 hour. It could go as high as 7,600. Now, I don't think the fundamentals of this pandemic are going to change, which leads me to believe that Bitcoin will continue a downward trend regardless. I said this a few weeks ago when we were up at around $10,000. I said, hey guys, we started a downward trend. And there's a bunch of people that made comments like, oh, what downward trend? Well, I think you need to pay attention to fundamentals, not technicals. And I can't say that enough right now. Normally, we only trade technicals, right? That's when like markets are kind of in a somewhat acquiescent, am I using that? Yeah, where we can tell what's going on, like where things coalesce into like a storyline that's like we can understand. Well, we can't understand a pandemic. We can't understand the fundamentals of exponential mathematics. It's very difficult for us to do these types of things. And even if you've studied your whole life in math, it's going to be hard. So these drops were not unexpected. They were actually, we could have foreseen this coming. I think a lot of us foresaw this coming. So I do suspect we will see a rebound, but in that rebound, I'm not suspecting we're going higher. Everyone that's like, oh, I bought the dip, I think they're catching falling fucking knives. Bitcoin could go to $1,500 here. Ladies and gentlemen, assets are not worth anything unless you can use them. And if you can't use them to survive because fucking toilet paper is $150 and food is no longer in your store shelves, Bitcoin is not worth anything. Money might not even be worth anything at that point either, right? If we get into a mode of pure survival, and I pray to God it does not get that bad, money is not worth anything the way we know it today. And these are the questions we have to ask ourselves. They're hard questions. They're ones that cause cognitive dissonance. They're ones that really fuck with our heads. They're ones that we can't comprehend because we live life mostly in a linear fashion. This is not a linear moment in time. We're about to see exponentials in the way we live our lives here. And it's important to understand how those things work. So for those of you that were on the private Bear Den call this morning, we have a private news group for any of you that are interested in that. It's for those of you that are brave and interested in learning how to, I guess trade's probably the wrong word, but at the very least protect your portfolio. We did a live Zoom call this morning. I'm going to do that every Monday for the private Bear Den members. So guys, keep an eye on maybe we'll send it to your inboxes as well as in the private Telegram group. That way, any questions you guys have about margin trading, leverage trading, how do you hedge your bets? What can we expect? And maybe even how do you start working from home? Maybe you don't have a vocational like remote job. And that's something you're interested in doing. Trading is one way to do that, although you do need a portfolio to do that. So that's under the assumption that you've already have like maybe 10 grand at least to play around with or something in terms of asset. You can do it with much less too, but you just have to be a very diligent trader. And I want to make sure everyone's getting a good sleep. Don't lose sleep over this. Your health is more important than your portfolio. Always don't get stressed out about this stuff. It's not great. Panic only under the pretense that you know what you're going to do next. Understand that this could be a very dangerous situation for everybody, and that we could all lose family members in the next very short period of time. This is going to be hard on all of us. I hope and I pray that that's not the case, but we have to look to the future and at least at one corner of that future assume something is going to happen, because we just have never seen a pandemic we've never seen anything like this in my entire lifetime. We've never seen a drastic down like this. The closest was in 2008 and 2001, but those were under just market conditions. Those were not under the potentials of a pandemic. And when they're going to not pay taxes, et cetera, it could bode very well or bode very poorly for all of these assets. So I'm actually watching Bitcoin here on the 15 minute, and it doesn't look like it's going to hold that position on the 21 moving average. So again, all we're doing is looking for potential exit positions to hedge our portfolio right now. I'm going to take a look at a few of your guys' questions. I'm going to leave today's show short. It was my birthday yesterday. I was out dancing near the fire. That's why I made a video. I sounded a little crazy yesterday. It was my birthday. In case anyone was wondering, I'm like, yeah, just Donald Trump. I don't even think I made a whole lot of sense last night. So thank you guys again. This is a shout out to all the private members, as well as all the supportive people of the Arcane Bear that always show up, no matter how much crazy shit I say or how ridiculous I sound. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the support. This community means so much to me. And in these times when we're going to need more and more online community, because we might be spending a lot more time on the computer together, I want to make sure that the private bear family knows I'm there for them. You guys can, like I said, we can jump on these calls once a week and we'll build that out. So if you're not a private bear den member yet, go sign up. It's a lot of fun. Only if you're like brave and willing to, understand that we're trying to benefit from chaos and we're trying to get stronger from stress, the regular day things, then it's for you. If you just think you can make a bunch of money overnight because you're a trader and you get calls in your inbox, and this is definitely not for you. It doesn't even exist. That's a great way to lose a lot of money really quickly, not make it. So I will warn those against that as well. Being an uneducated trader that just is in a call group will always fucking lose you money. So learn how to trade first before you listen to what other people tell you to do. Seems just silly. Anyways, I'm going to take a look at some of your guys' thoughts and questions here. I'm really, really grateful for all the support. I'm just looking at, Bitcoin's not even holding up here. It looks like it could make an inverse head and shoulders, but I'm not going to bet on this right now. It doesn't look too promising. We actually may see a bigger breakdown here in a very, very short period of time. So I'm going to keep my eyes on the news. I'm going to take a look at your last few guys' thoughts and questions, and we'll go from there. Gold, silver after dry food. Yeah, food is more important than gold, silver, for sure. I agree with that. Some will live, some will die. We'll all die at one point. We've all played the game of roulette just by being here. We've just increased the odds of there being a bullet in the chamber right now. Human from Earth says COVID-19 was the pin that popped the 11-year bubble. Yep. I agree. I think it's popped, and the pandemic could bring it much, much lower than we had ever anticipated. It could bring us into depression levels, and that's we have no idea. The break of 3,000 possible for once. Yeah, I think we could go as low as $1,500 on this. I think Tyler Jensen, may he rest in peace, his sweet soul may be justified in trying to teach us about these big waves. And we'd long speculated that this could just be a giant fucking B wave in Bitcoin. Very noticeable from the weekly. And we had said this multiple times in every single one of our newsletters. We'd be like, guys, there still could be massive downside here. Here we are in the weekly for Bitcoin, and we'll just the last little bit will take over. We dropped all the way down to the 200 weekly moving average, which is at 54.91. If we don't hold above that, we're going low, going very, very low on this asset. We're going to see miners drop off. Stay healthy, stay safe. Tell the people that in your life that you love them. We really don't know what's coming from this. Smash that thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen. Because your guys' support makes this channel what it is. It's all the intelligent people in the private bear group, in the Telegram channel. It's all you guys that make this what it is. I just like shit talking, and I'm so grateful that you guys support that. For however crazy and unorganized it might be sometime, this improvisational aspect is what has made me stronger. It's one of the things that have made me anti-fragile, is my ability to adapt to every single moment that's coming. And instead of having this preordained plan about what I'm going to show you through a slideshow or something, I just go. And I think that's a really valuable sentiment to learn right now. Tack up on your improvisational skills, your adaptability, because you're going to need them. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate that. You guys, I got hundreds and hundreds of messages from you in every single channel, from Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, the private channel, and now in the live chat. I really, really appreciate you guys' support. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you. Again, please note that these are unknown circumstances, and to not take them lightly. We'll leave it at that. Stay with the Arcane Bear, ladies and gentlemen. Keep an eye on your portfolios. Things are crazy right now, but that's also a positive. If you learn how to benefit from chaos, this is all a positive, right? Post-traumatic growth, ladies and gentlemen. I hope and wish everyone the best, and we'll speak again soon. This is Steve with the Arcane Bear. I'm signing off. Maybe I'll be back this evening because shit just happened so quickly. We'll see you again on the other side.